Hi, Trevor. Thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with me and answer a couple questions. Are you okay with this being recorded?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So my first question is, what is your leadership role?
Okay, so my leadership role is I am actually the current store manager for FedEx office here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Awesome. And so how would you define leadership?
Leadership to me is taking the initiative to do something that others aren't necessarily, I wouldn't say willing, but really capable of doing, and being that example. A lot of leadership practices that we practice at FedEx office is to do with servant leadership. So we are acting by example and giving back first and foremost.
Okay. All right. Do you identify with any leadership theories? I know that you mentioned servant leadership is something that y'all do, but any other leadership theories?
Yes, so the idea of servant leadership really comes from leading by example and putting others before yourself. Um, I kind of embody other leadership skills or theories as well. Mainly, I would say behavioral and relation leadership. Reason being is both of those kind of are incorporated in servant leadership. So when I say behavioral, from what I know of behavioral is you take from other leaders and you can sort of mirror those examples and utilize those. So being able to see other people in leadership roles and take from that and develop on top of that. And then hopefully you're going to be an example to someone else. But I don't think that has as much of an effect if you don't have a relation leadership style as well, because you're currently and continuously building relationships with your coworkers, with your employees, and that gains that respect that makes them say, hey, you know what? I want to be a leader just like this person that I look up to.
Right. Okay. This is kind of not on my list of questions to ask, but since you brought it up, having relationships with your employees, do you find it hard to make boundaries with them for the employee, employer, or personal relationships?
I think it's possible. Me in particular, I find a good balance within it all because I've had numerous conversations with my employees, and I think open communication is so important when you're in a role such as this
Yeah.
because if you're willing to give feedback, you need to be open and willing to receive feedback. And that leaves that open communication both ways for you and your team member. When doing so, I find it that people have more respect for you.
Mhm.
So I talk to some of my coworkers and they say, you're a great person to be around. You're full of enthusiasm. We have so much fun. But like when it's time for me to be their boss, they recognize that. And then we can just go back to where we were. So with that respect in place, it's not necessarily as much of a challenge. It's just maintaining that balance.
Okay, I like that. So to go along with that, how would you define your leadership style?
I would say a mix between behavioral and relation. Um, I want to be what my old manager was for me. And I strive to look up to those who have come before me because obviously they're there for a reason. They're in those positions for a reason. And really to continue to grow in that aspect as well. And hopefully I can pass that on because I want to help develop and give back the way that people help develop me and give back to me. Um, and finding those opportunities for other people. And on top of that as well, like I said before, I love having relations with my employees. I find that it helps with efficiency and makes them want to do more. Because I find that in my shoes as well, you're always wanting to make your leader proud in some sense.
Right, right. So kind of going hand in hand with that, I guess my final question would be, what kind of relationships do you have with your employees, and would that relationship be reciprocated if I were to ask them?
Well, I would hope good relationships. Again, I think they see where there is that line between being human and having fun, but also there's times where I be like, I have to pull them aside and be like, hey, right now I have to be your boss. Um, let's get past this hurdle and then we can start having fun again, because I don't ever want there to be an atmosphere where people can't come and enjoy work, because we're with each other a lot of times more than we're with our own families. So building those relationships and going through the highs and lows with each other is very important. It builds a stronger connection one on one. It builds a stronger team. So just any good standing, any good relationship, and learning how to build that team environment and learning to lean on one another. So I would say um, I would have good standing with my team. I would hope they would say the same.
How do you go about building those relationships? I know you said you like to build a positive environment. So, what are some things that you really encourage in the workplace to build those relationships?
Again, that goes back to open communication. So the more transparent that you are with your team, the more willing and open they will be with you. Um, I That's really the initial aspect of everything, is going in and being like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I expect. Um, you know, and then asking them about their personal life and where they want to be in life and what their goals are, what their aspirations are, and to really build off of that and just be human about it. Just really get to know each other one on one, and then help each other build relationships as well.
Right, I really like that. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
thank you so much. Had a great time. Thank you.